Game number 1, last qualifier. Qualifier number 6 for the Murky Cup, ladies and gentlemen. When Tomb and Spider Queen, a best of 3 series in the quarterfinal. And we have a bit of a rematch. This series happened before. I mean, to be fair, a lot of the games that we see, since most of the teams participate in nearly all of the qualifiers, are rematches at some point, at one point or another. But the Enjoyers and Exodia stack is an they have an interesting story, simply because last time that they faced off against each other was, if I'm not mistaken, either qualifier number 3 or number 4. I believe it was qualifier number 4, and it was also in the first round. And the Enjoyers actually took out the Exodia stack, which was quite the upset. So the Enjoyers can pull it off, and I would say that the blue team is not going to take them too easily. Now, again, if you're familiar with the bounty system, that's fantastic, but a quick note, as usual, we're currently in the quarterfinals, which means that there are no bounties. We decided that bounties only become active in the qualifiers once that we enter the semifinals. Reasoning is very simple. We wanted to avoid that in case there are some lower level teams that sign up just for the fun of it, that they get farmed in the early rounds and teams just use the high discrepancy in skill and tournament experience to farm bounties without getting any resistance. The whole idea of the bounty system is to put teams in a position where they have to make a risk-reward calculation, and that's not really the case there. But once that you're entering the semifinals, we're down to the final 4 teams, which means that everybody that's in there has a high chance of ending up in the playoffs anyways, or at least is fighting for a spot there, and then the skill discrepancy becomes a bit less. So no bounties in this series. Still, we have a draft rule, and that rule, as usual, is that you can only play hero once within a series. So every single hero you see on map number 1 cannot be played again in the best of 3. And as we go through the games, this is going to start to slowly have an impact here as well. But yeah, I'm kind of excited for this. I want to see... The Exodia stack is obviously coming in here with a bit of a mission, right? They want to have revenge for getting kicked out of, again, qualifier 4, I believe. And we'll see how that goes. So... while we are... oh, well, twice with Johanna on the first pick. 1 sub, by the way, for the Enjoyers. They're playing with Ether today, which they've already announced a bit earlier. And it's actually kind of interesting, because all of the teams that participate in qualifier number 6 are already guaranteed to be in the playoffs. So there's not going to be any kind of shaking up when it comes to like who qualifies for the playoffs, but... that's not the only thing that matters. You really have to try to be in the top spots in the ranking, because if you're not, then, well, your position is going to be pretty meh. Especially when we're talking about the lower teams. You don't want to end up, you know, straight up in the losers bracket, for example. So you want to try and avoid that as best as you can. So time will tell who's able to move up and down. And when we're talking about the standings, as teams move through a qualifier, they gather points. Teams are capable or able to participate in as many qualifiers as they want. So the more you participate, farther you go in these tournaments, the more points you get for the leaderboard, and then at the end of the qualifiers we advance the top 6 teams for the playoffs themselves. So we, by the way, have only best of 5s with the exception of the grand final, which is the best of 7. But yeah, that should also be pretty good. And this is going to take place then over the course of 2 weekends, so that we can fit all of the matches in and don't have to, you know, decide on what we're going for. Anduin and Varian are both banned. Yeah, that family is just cursed. Nobody likes them. They're those neighbors, you know, that you don't want to have. They're always a little bit weird. So, Varian is like the angry guy. Then you have Anduin, and he's always a little bit suspicious. So, yeah, keep the kids away from them. That's all that I'm saying. Tyrael, nice. Tyrael Blaze. So, double layer of protection with Sanctification. Assuming that we're getting Sanctification. And we get Blaze with the bunker. Now, double pick on the right side for the Enjoyers to round out the draft in game number 1 for them. They still need a support. They have their side laner, but a bit more of damage wouldn't hurt. Could be a melee as well. Nice wave clear already on at least the melee, so that's good for them. Considering that Tomb is our first map. And here we are, Khaldor. Khaldor and Rhaegar. Yeah, they are fully aware that bounties don't count in the first round. I've actually double-checked with some teams a few times, because they kept picking heroes where I was like, do they know it's like this is not a bounty game? And yeah, but we get Khaldor. So If they pick Convection, we know that they don't know. That they, after all, they're not aware that this is a non-bounty game. Either way. Sergeant Hammer, final pick. Tomb of the Spider Queen. Map number 1, ladies and gentlemen. The Enjoyers against the Exodia stack. First game, Exodia stack against the Enjoyers on the left side. In blue, Hazu Ops on Sergeant Hammer. We got Copenhagen on Blaze. Dino and Gul'dan. Bad Benny with Tyrael. Hindiazu on Malfurion. On the right side of the map, the Enjoyers with Arian himself and Tracer. We got Ether on Leoric, Lavakal on Rhaegar, twice on Joanna, and Alvaro's. Alright, he knows. Mana Addict on level 1, but he plays Kel'Thas in the first game. So, let's go. Yeah, well, we're actually starting with the early game. I've been talking a little bit in the Twitch live chat about it too. So, it's Saturday, it's the weekend again, which means that we went on one of our big bike rides today once more. So we did like 140 kilometers today. It was actually pretty nice, but during the break to grab food, we talked a bit about Spanish and English. And it's always shocking to me how bad the English, even in the younger generations, is in Spain. It's kind of ridiculous. And it's like really weird. I think it's slowly changing because I believe that especially when you're a parent, in order to set your child up for success, you really want to make sure that they are speaking English. Doesn't really matter which country you live in, because it makes a huge difference. So if English is bad in school, then private lessons at a young age make probably a lot of sense. And it's just so wild to me. It's also weird for me myself because I started casting in my native language, right? And then at some point when my English was good enough and I, by accident more or less, commentated a couple of tournaments in English and people liked it, I decided that I would switch simply because it made more sense. You have a bigger audience and yeah, it's also fairly easy to to train your English. There's so many, you know, if you have Netflix, you can watch the shows in English. If you have Amazon Prime, you can do the same thing. It doesn't really matter what. A lot of podcasts are in English too. And that's why you see also so many podcasts of people that are non-native speakers that are still doing them in English. So it plays a huge role. It's always surprising to me when younger generations don't get that. And by the way, can we just, like all of us non-native speakers, just for a second, talk a little bit about all of these fuckers that are native speakers? I mean, how lazy can you be? If you're English or American, it's actually ridiculous, right? You don't even have to speak a different language. How many people do you know that are native English speakers that are always running around saying like, I would really like to learn a second language, but yeah, well, maybe one day getting around it. Meanwhile, most of us speak 2, 3 languages, dabble in a 4th or whatever. So yeah, it's actually wild. If you are born in a native English-speaking country, you already won some kind of lottery, for sure. But yeah. Yeah, they can be very, very happy we didn't win the war. Or you would all speak German right now. Little side tangent over here. Can I say this in 2024? I'm pretty sure I can. Yeah, if you take that too serious, then it's your problem. So, down at the bottom of the map, still already a lot of pressure. The wall is gone. Hazu Ops is trying to zip away from Arian. And yeah, Tracer has to be also careful. I mean, those auto attacks of Sergeant Hammer hit hard. We haven't seen a single kill yet. Gul'dan went into a flat flame build. Ooh, that was a nice one. That was a beautiful connect there. So Tracer is able to rush away. But that got dangerous for a moment. If she didn't have the recall cooldown ready, she would have died for sure there. Now, quick move over into the middle as we're seeing Tyrael try and get out. But in the meantime, we got still not a single kill on the board. We're 3.5 minutes in, and so far the kill count is still looking at a solid 0. But the attacks, they currently keep coming. And the teams are trying to do their best to change this up a little bit. And also, get the turn-ins going. That's obviously the next thing that they're all trying to do. Get that turn-in going, make sure that they're going to get the first set of web weavers. So, we'll see if they can, who's able to deliver first. Right now it looks pretty damn good for the red team, as they're sitting on 38 delivered gems. Since we haven't seen anybody die yet, it also means that gems weren't lost thus far. Now, level 7 is starting to kick in now too. So extra talents are slowly coming up. Benny, careful a bit against Arian. Tracer is very active. all over the place. Now they have a great move on Dino, and that is first blood, and that's a few gems that are definitely lost to the Exodia stack. Dino gets caught here, and this just kicks things off for the Enjoyers. They're able to pick off not only Gul'dan, but also turn in their gems, so a bit of momentum for the team right now. They're going to be pretty happy about this. So, at least early on, things are decent for the Exodia stack. The problem, well, for the Exodia stack in the sense that they did a lot of damage at the bottom, also to the fort. But now for the red team, since they have a chance to bring this back, and who knows, maybe with the first set of Web Weavers, start to also take some of these forts out. So while the Exodia stack suffered the first death of one of their boys, they're still looking pretty alright as long as they can defend. And they actually took Tracer out. Nice for Sergeant Hammer. Able to get that kill. If anything, it looks like they are going to destroy the fort at the bottom of the map. And this is definitely going to happen. Ether has to half back. Leo had no chance there. So the defense is very solid. Dino is now working it up at the top and is doing a great job there. To be honest, that turn-in didn't really do a whole lot. Some walls are down, some were also previously destroyed. So that was great for the blue team. Well done. They still have enough gems to get their own turn-ins. That's also quite important here. So let's see what they're going to get with that. Now in the meantime, there's also leading experience now for the Exodia stack. The big problem is obviously that they already took down the fort at the bottom of the map. That all happened without them even having to use the objective. So Sergeant Hammer alone was able to do that for them. And this makes the first push very tricky. I mean, it's going to be a little bit difficult, honestly, that first push. Because once that we have the Web Weavers for the blue team, which is now going to be the case in a few seconds, they have an opportunity to take more forts out, take more map control. And once that you're losing forts on Tomb of the Spider Queen, it also means that you're losing any kind of retreat point when a fight over the turn-in point starts to happen. So it makes it very difficult to control that area and prevent your opponent from moving in and setting up there. Level 10 abilities kick in for both teams at the same time. But yeah, defense is already slowly starting to kick off here. Yeah, kill for a kill is all that we have so far. It's not really a whole lot. But then again, Sergeant Hammer busy at the top, trying to push him through. Bot lane also, that's another factor. Tyrael against Leoric there. There's also Siege Giants that are involved in that push. So that makes things even harder for them. But yep, the next attack is coming through the top. That's going to be the big one. A bit of damage also done in the middle now as minions have pushed in, and Tyrael is currently helping out there too. So that's another potential play that they can make to destroy more structures, and he's already done a great job here. But Benny drops it down to 50%. Tracer is trying to take him on. It's a bit tricky for Benny. He might even... Nah, he gets the assistance from Elfurion. But up at the top, that's also some decent damage. So they haven't taken out another fort, but they've at least damaged the ones that were still on the map. Oh, Copenhagen! Yeah, that's a kill. That's a kill. That's the second one now for the Enjoyers. So nicely done by them. Damage output 25,000 for Tracer, which is currently the top damage for the team and in the game. Sergeant Hammer is coming in second with 24,000. Slowly starting to close that gap a bit. But yeah, still a lot of gems in play. Enough for another turn in for the red team. Not quite enough to do the same here for the Exodia stack. As far as games go, this is a fairly close one in the early stages, and I really like it. I talked a bit about how they already faced off against each other in one of the previous qualifiers and how the Enjoyers actually won that and caused a bit of an upset after the Exodia stack dominated specifically the first qualifier. But right now, it's a back and forth. So who is going to take the lead here? 13 is going to come up next. Ancestral already used. Careful, Kelthas in trouble. Dino wants the kill, and he gets it. Damage over time, kicking in and doing the work here for them. Job well done. And by now, they are pushing again for another structure. Moving towards the top in an attempt to destroy that fort. And also, there's a lot that they can do in the middle. Let's not forget about the option to turn in again they have now enough gems as well. Red team is currently trying to do that down at the bottom of the map, but gets interrupted. So they don't have a chance to do that just yet. But in the middle, Gul'dan, Sergeant Hammer, they're both moving in now. Eager to take this one out. Looking good for them. Johanna has defended the top fort, but the second one for the Enjoyers is now lost. So they are losing ground here, and quite a lot of it. Trace at the bottom, still dealing with Benny, but it's already getting a bit tricky. Leading experience goes to the blue team. They turn in for the second time in a row now too, so that helps them even more. But yeah, things are actually looking very, very good for the Exodia stack. Now, we've seen too many comebacks in this tournament series to count the Enjoyers out yet, but they need a bit of a win. They first of all have to defend properly against what's happening here. Web Weavers at the top are probably going to deal with this. Minion waves are already there. They themselves still wanted to do a bit more damage. Are currently pushing for the bottom of the map. Sergeant Hammer is also moving between the middle and the bottom, trying to escort the second set of Web Weavers as close to the wall as they can. And down here, they're already taking set wall down. So wall is about to be destroyed. A bit of counter pressure. Sanctification is in. They are looking for the kill. Can't find it just yet, but Ancestral on Tracer. And Lavakal, the doggy, dies. First of all, dropping his ult to save Tracer, but with Rhaegar gone, there's no more sustain for Jojo. She's the second one to get dropped. So that's 2 heroes now down. Only 6 kills in total as they're trying for Tracer. Recall, that's another kill, and they're losing Leo too. He's still able to at least take Gul'dan down, but it doesn't change the fact that now only Kelpus is alive. So this is going to hurt a lot. All the forts are gone, the first keep has been destroyed. They're now rotating over towards the bot lane in order to take another keep down. This is definitely a big, big play for momentum in the game by the blue team. And it's not only those 2 keeps that are endangered. Look at the top side. This keep as well is taking an enormous amount of damage. They are still able to at least defend it. But with so many heroes dying earlier, it also means that more and more gems were lost for the red team, and it puts them into a horrible spot. The leading experience has by now led also to a level 16 talent advantage for the blue team. So the Exodia stack is currently in full control of this game. I mean, full control. There's nothing that can be done against them at this point. So, as things stand, they are in the driver's seat. I mean, absolutely. Another camp is about to be taken. Red team was trying to see if they can get there in time to take it out. It wasn't really a secret or anything what was happening there. But they can't. So they are willing to fight now, even with the talent disadvantage. They know that they have to make a few moves. There's no immediate danger of another Web Weaver wave being claimed. They themselves, though, can get one. So once they have 16, they could try and go for a fight and go for... go for their own objective. But Tracer's gone. Ancestral on Rhaegar. Lavakal, he's still destroyed. That's 2 down. This might just be it. They're about to lose Leoric too. Ether's barely able to get away, but he's low. He will have to halve. The rest is already suffering significantly as the blue team is making their way towards the core. Keltas goes down, and so does Jojo. This is definitely going to be it. Game number 1 will be taken by the blue team. The Exodia stack, ladies and gentlemen. Successful on Tomb of the Spider Queen here at the final qualifier for the Murky Cup. They are able to take it. Tomb of the Spider Queen, the first map. It's a 1-0 win for the blue team. GG. Well played.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Game number 2. So, best of 3 series continues. We get Dragonshire as our second map, and the Exodia stack has taken the lead. Pretty successful first game from their perspective, obviously. I mean, they did win, but they also did it in a very nice fashion. So, yeah, congratulations. Nicely done. Now the question is simply, can they also win the series? Because, spoiler alert, but that's exactly what happened the last time. They won the first map. Got rolled on the second. Well, actually, on the second it was insanely close, but they kind of fell behind then later. And yeah, then on the third, things went totally awry. So now that we're going into our second map, I'm not sure how much of a role that's going to play. I don't think they're really going to think about the series previously. But we're heading into Dragonshire, which is always a very demanding map because you need to control 3 points on the map to get the objective. Sometimes you will see a team sneak it in immensely early in the game. But usually we're talking later stage objectives after a couple of wins happened. Well, with wins, teamfight victories, where you were able to take a few heroes out and get a numbers advantage on the map. Which also just means that as the game progresses and the death timers rise, it's more likely they're going to get a Dragon Knight. The 10 heroes that were played on the first map cannot be played again. Quick reminder. Which means that we have now 10 heroes less to choose from. Alright, but Genji gets banned. We could still go for a sniper comp, specifically when I look over to the blue team. I could totally see them play Varian here. Benny likes to play Varian. If they want to roam the map, go from lane to lane, get kills, Varian, Stukov would be a good choice. Malfurion has already been taken. He synergizes well with Tracer, so that's why we saw him on the last map. But if you want to go, you could still play Varian. I would assume that he's going to be picked in the 3-4 and not in the 1-2 if they want to do that. But there's plenty of tanks still available, so yeah, just one suggestion. They go Muradin instead. Muradin has always been a nice hero for Dragonshire as well. I mean, even in the days of HGC, Muradin was a hero that you would see regularly on this map. JPL playing Muradin a lot. You can traverse terrain fairly easily, just like jump out of one of those bushes and hit a Stormbolt hard. Copenhagen with Urel up at the top lane. Pretty damn good solo laner as well, since Urel can obviously move very quickly between the lane and the shrine. Dehaka, yeah, we get Brightwing and Hanzo on the other side. Yeah, so Brightwing and Dehaka, you got a double global now, essentially. And for the final ban, no tank has been taken yet by the Enjoyers. Hanzo with an arrow. Another thing to consider. Get that arrow out and get the stun comp going. Haga Tong into Hanzo arrow. Just straight up. And we get a Nubarak. Alright, a Nubarak got bans. Yeah, no dive for them. I'm not sure how much they would really want to dive on this one. But alright. Final ban for the red team. They're probably just like going for the shenanigans check here. Looking at the other team thinking like, what kind of like weird thing could they do? The Exodia stack is also in a pretty interesting position because they completed a lot of bounties already. Nearly most of them. Which honestly means that if you are facing off against the Exodia stack, you could literally look at the bounty board. This doesn't apply to this series, but for later, assuming they advance. You could literally look at the thing and say like, okay, what's still missing? What could they possibly get? Because teams have been really trying to get a lot of bounties during the qualifiers, which I personally like quite a lot. But yeah, so with a double pick here, let's go Junkrat and we get Stukov. So we don't get Varian with Stukov, but we get Muradin with him. So now we have a trap, you have Muradin with Stormbolt, Urel with a quick swipe into a corner, and the follow-up stun. Stukov, lurking arm, could be a thing now. And that leaves us with Dino as the final pick for the team. But what kind of tank do we get for the Enjoyers now? And they still need also another damage dealer. Hanzo alone is not going to cut it here for them. Diablo Tychus. Alright. Tychus is always kind of interesting. I love when Tychus, when it goes up against Cho'Gall, we're getting full auto attack styles from him. When that build makes sense, it is kind of fun. Most of the time you're better off with a different build, but the auto attack build on Tychus can be pretty good depending on what kind of composition you're playing with and if you can get easy stacks. But as it stands, we now have Tychus in the house, and on the blue team side, Dino with a final pick on Dragonshire. Map number 2, we get Sylvanas. So let's head straight into the first match point for the Exodia stack. Game number 2, the Exodia stack going up against the Enjoyers. The second map in the best of 3 series here in qualifier number 6 for the Murky Cup, the final qualifier. And on the left side, we got Hazorps on Junkrat, Dino on Sylvanas. We get Copenhagen on Urel, Yasu playing Suko for the team, and Bad Benio, of course, once again on the tank, sitting there at the front line and playing Muradin. In the meantime, we get on the right side, Ether on the Haka. We're getting Arian on Hanzo, Alvaros on Tychus, starting things off with a grenade. Lavakal on Brightwing, and Twice is playing Diablo in the second game. So, can they do it again? The Enjoyers, of course, on a mission here. They want to turn it around once more, as they did in the past, and take out the Exodia stack, advance to the next round, and see what they can do here. But for the time being, at least, we have our 5 versus 5 in the middle of the map. So, a little bit of action is already happening. Okay, der Haka. Yeah, and he goes down. There's the kill. Nice. Very, very early first blood now for the Exodia stack. That was nicely done. A lot of body blocking. Was at the end of the day, it was a traditional Warcraft 3 surround that we just saw there. There was just no way for the Haka to get out. Even with Brightwing trying to come in for a quick heal, it didn't accomplish anything. So that's the end. And at the bottom of the map, they're now starting to siege up once more. So the whole idea being use Sylvanas when you can, when you have an advantage, and just try and see how much damage you can do on all of this. Camps spawning, and immediately the teams are starting to slowly focus on them as well. Trying to get a bit of an advantage, of course, going from one camp to another, setting those up onto the lane. Oh, but Benny! Someone was a little bit too far out there. In tower range too, and that shuts down Mirrodin. So Mirrodin is gone, but another camp is already about to be taken by the Enjoyers, and they're pretty quick on these. When it comes to the camp control, this is going to help quite a lot. You get this camp, you use Sylvanas at the top, and then all of a sudden you can push pretty aggressively and see how much you can get on this. So, as is, we're now looking at double control for the Enjoyers. At least trying to grab the objective. Trying to aim for a bit of a quick one here. Alvaros. In the middle has to be a bit careful from Benny, but the blue team is trying to retake the shrine at the top and has managed to do so. So top side shrine is now gone. Diablo jumping in. Nice. And the defense, so far, so good. Still, obviously, is the Sylvanas factor that they have to be a bit careful about. Ooh, a bit of a pause too. So, not 100% certain if there's any kind of bigger problem that the teams are currently experiencing here. If there's any huge issue that they're currently dealing with. It seems that nobody has actually dropped from the looks of it. It's also the red team. Oh, actually, somebody has dropped. Diablo is out of commission. So, let's hope that he can reconnect quickly. Because kind of mandatory. Yeah, Diablo is currently out behind the wall, so it's not like the blue team can follow up and get a quick kill here. But obviously, let's just hope that he's going to be back in a few seconds. Alright, back to business. So, all good. Diablo disconnected, but wasn't a problem for him to get back into the game. Kind of important here. Not running into big issues, but this could be a problem because Yasuo grabs it in time. There was an attempt at the top to take it back, but they couldn't. They weren't fast enough. And now we have the first objective for the blue team. Yeah, pretty damn nice for them. So, they get the first Dragonite of the game, the Exodia stack now with the opportunity. And can start to take out not only the wall, but maybe even a bit more than the tower. Some damage on the fort would of course be fantastic if they can pull it off. It's a very early Dragonite though, a 3-minute mark essentially. So that immediately means that you won't be able to do too much here. Or at least you shouldn't be. Normally when you have the Dragonite that early, what you're trying to do is just make sure that you're taking out some of the... you're taking out some of the... minions with your... Jesus, words are currently eluding me completely. Dragon's Breath, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you. Abilities, Dragon's Breath. So they're trying to make a play with that. Didn't really work out for them. And Stukov actually overstayed his welcome to dies. And Hanzo dies at the bottom of the map. So we all of a sudden have 2 of them going down mega quickly here. Yep. Hanzo ops. Have a nice day! I love Junkrat. Junkrat is so darn silly. Oh, absolutely perfect. Now, up at the top, the wall at least is open. They did some damage in the middle. Stream has already had some problems there as well. At the fort. Alright. Yeah, okay, sorry guys. I got a little bit distracted. Let's just acknowledge it. There was actually a call that I got on WhatsApp. I have still my new PC, and obviously I've now was streaming with this thing for like 2 or 3 weeks already. But there's still a couple of things that I occasionally need to adjust, and that is one of them. So I was trying to figure out where exactly the notification came from, why it made a sound in the first place, and also if I can shut it down completely so that it doesn't happen again. But despite what people think, I actually have some friends. Not a lot of them, but I have a few. And yeah, one of them just tried to call me, so I'm gonna try and fix that for next time, but that's what distracted me heavily. So yeah, Khaldor was distracted. They are all in on that fight, by the way. I mean, damn. What a battle. That is 2 down on the blue team. Diablo died as well, but I mean, to be fair, Diablo had all of his things together. All of his souls. So, yep, pretty damn good for him. With this now, we have nearly level 10, and the red team is starting to gain a bit of momentum here. They have an early level 10 that they can now use to break down the bottom wall as well. So that's already great. Question, of course, is then can they continue the momentum? Because right now, the game started essentially with the blue team not only getting an early kill, but then also following that up very quickly with some extra plays around the objective, the damage to the fort in the middle. They also are doing work at the top now, trying to go for the Haka. But the red team is fighting back. They were able to win the fight on the camp at the bottom of the map as level 10 abilities were kicking in. So now we're having a situation going in which the red team has not only brought things back, but has even taken the lead. So that is looking pretty alright for them. Not looking too bad. I mean, again, this is a team that has already made a comeback against the Exodia stack previously. So, it would be kind of wild if they can do it again. If it turns out that the Enjoyers are essentially the kryptonite of the Exodia stack, it would be amusing. Benny, talking about the kryptonite here, gets murdered. He did not go Avatar, by the way. He thought that he could go out, and well, he was mistaken, so he gets killed. We have Sylvanas with mind control, by the way. No real surprises on the other side for the other team. But, boah. Right now, they're taking that fort out. There's always the attempt by the blue team to go for that top lane, and this is something that we've now seen multiple times, and I think they're going to pull it off this time. So, while at the bottom of the map, the fort of the Exodia stack falls, they at least respond in kind at the top, take the fort out, so the teams are even in structures. But this is going to make that game so interesting from here on out. I mean, Mirrodin getting caught there for just a second, turns it around with a Stormbolt, big arrow! Yeah, but also nice lurking arm again. Benny is able to jump out. Huge shove from Stukov as Twice is dropping a bit low. But they are slowly moving away here. And Benny, now his trade kicks in. So he gets the hit points back with Mirrodin. 6 kills to 3 in favor of the red team. So the Enjoyers still looking pretty good. Yeah, that was a beautiful combo from Diablo. Twice gets shoved into range, and apparently Benny didn't have the cooldown on a Stormbolt, or that would have been the end of Diablo, but he's currently trying to at least save Yasuo and is able to keep Stukov alive. Now, there's already some control from the Haka at the top as he go for the Shrine. Here they have level 13. That's a nice little push with that minion wave in the camp through the top lane too. But the Haka is now starting to follow up on that. Double control on the objective, but no Dragon Eye just yet because Urel moved topside again and took the Shrine. It's a real heavy back and forth right now. I mean, they're going blow for blow at this point. So one hit after another is currently happening. Another attack already coming through. They're looking for another kill. They're trying to make that work again. So far weren't able to, but maybe now they're putting Lavakal into a corner. Trying to get the kill, and Brightwing goes down. Twice also has some problems, but the Storm Bolt misses and Diablo is able to walk away from this. But now essentially non-stop aggression in the game as we're 9 minutes into it. And yeah, there's no real essential lead here. I mean, basically when you're looking at the numbers, there's a bit of a lead in experience in kills for the Enjoyers, but it's nothing that forces the issue one way or another. The red team always responds in kind whenever a shrine is taken. The blue team is now trying to invade some camps here too, but it all comes at a cost, as down at the bottom of the map, once again we're having the neutral camp about to be taken by the red team. So, 7 kills, 2-4, top side, that's where we have Hazops now pushing. And twice, Lavekal and Alvaros are moving towards the middle. Diablo with an apocalypse. I mean, in this case, he didn't actually chain anything. It was a scouting apocalypse right there. All that they did with that. Mind control missed. The fort still falls. Closing the experience gap now, of course, as well. So that's the next accomplishment. There's still a few camps that need to be taken out. Not only the ones that are now newly claimed, but also this Bruiser camp at the bottom. Azu and Dainu are attempting to take it as quickly as they can. It's always that topside push, by the way. The entire wall is already gone with the exception of one tower. That makes it possible to potentially later on push through the Bridge of Death and try and take him out here. On the damage side, 27,000 for Hanzo. We're seeing Sylvanas with 21k. Urel and Dehaka just locked into that 1v1 on the top lane and have been for a long, long time right now. Just going toe-to-toe with each other over and over and over again. That's down here. Benny might have to pop his ult. The arrow dodges it. Still goes for Avatar. And here comes the Reptile. Lurking arm as well. Twice gets shoved. Oh, that's a big shove right there. That was one for the record books, honestly. Great job. So, 7 kills to 4. 16 talents kicking in now on both sides. And the red team is really getting aggressive. I mean, look at the positioning that they're showing here. On 16, we're now having imposing presence for Muradin. Whoa! Sylvanas! Dainu gets absolutely crushed. Walk towards the push like a bronzy and gets punished for it. Now they're going for twice! Yeah, Diablo finds himself in the wrong spot here. Loses his soul stacks once again. But, yeah, to be fair, he still had all the stacks. This double siege giant camp, on the other hand, is starting to become problematic. Yeah, they gotta take that down. The wall is falling and we're talking keep wall here. So everybody is still hoping for another objective, for another Dragonite, and they're playing towards it. Tychus, arrow against Muradin. Benny! Yeah, Benny very quickly went from hunter to hunted, and now he's gone. So that means Muradin is dead for another 40. Dragonite is taken by the Enjoyers, and now they aim for Hanzo. With the Dragonite, they wanted to go for the keep, of course. They might still have a chance, but Hanzo falling, that's of course going to be an issue. And they might lose Diablo for real this time. And indeed they do. Diablo is gone. That might be the end of Brightwing as they're diving in a little bit deeper. Lavekal falls. Holy chase. And look at this. The top lane. Over and over and over again. Urel prepped this and now they're going to lose the keep because of it. It doesn't seem like anybody is going to defend. Well, to be fair, Tychus is now moving over. But the same is true for Junkrat. So they're going to get that keep. Exceptionally well done. They got early pressure thanks to the catapults because they took the fort out. And now they were able to take a keep just through the Winions. That's big. On a macro level, that's huge. Now, the fort in the middle has, by the way, not fallen. It is hilariously low. I mean, again, it's basically dead. But for all intents and purposes, it means that there's still no extra catapult spawning for the red team. So they haven't completely destroyed it. Unfortunate for them, but nothing else to be done about it. And with Sylvanas pressuring once more, we now have to push straight to the bottom of the map. Ether is getting attacked here potentially. This game is awesome. I mean, back and forth from start to finish as the Enjoyers are really, really trying to fight back here. They're doing what they can. They're over and over attempting to force a fight. They have 9 kills to 8. The camp control from them is not too bad either, even though it was more so the blue team that made the bit dent at the top lane thanks to their Bruiser camp control that they had there. Talking about those Bruiser camps, now they're doing the same thing again, stealing the opponent's camp away too. There's another push in the middle. Those catapults are becoming a huge nuisance to the team in red. So, yeah, the macro play is definitely better from the Exodia stuff. But the Enjoyers are making some excellent moves here. Some really, really nice moves. Now, Alvaro's starting to move in towards the middle. Trying to defend here. It would be kind of funny to me, I have to admit, if eventually we would see catapults at the top push for the core and win the game somehow after the catapults already took out the keep. That would make the top lane the most dangerous lane on this map, basically. 20 is still missing for the Enjoyers, so they're currently trying to grab the experience for it. Getting closer and closer, but they're also very likely going to lose that fort at the bottom of the map. It currently doesn't seem like they're going to send too many heroes over in order to defend this. Maybe they should. But yeah, for now it's going to be still standing. But with Muradin, or sorry, with Junkrat, it's obviously a given that this is eventually going to fall if he wants to just poke it down. Dino gets a Dragonite, so Sylvanas has now a big battle axe. You can start to swing that. We have the big red button for Tychus. We get Bullseye for Hanzo. And now the fort at the bottom is going to fall for sure. They had a couple of options of what they could do. I mean, you could have, of course, also tried to just go for game, moving through the top lane. Highly unlikely. Normally not a lane that you push through because of the choke points that exist there. Normally it's the bottom of the map that you're more so interested in, simply because there's also more mercenary camps that you can control and set up a push later on in the game, which a lot of teams elect to do. But right now, they want to open up those walls. They are playing for the long game here. They know that on the macro level, at least, they have the upper hand, and they are currently trying to exploit that. So the Dragonite, 16 minutes in. Not that crazy. They got the fort, but that was already low, but they have not been able to get the wall. Nice play against Sylvanas. Arrow missed, by the way. That was some real quick reactions also from Dino on Syl. Using the quick blink to get away, using the level 20 there. That could have been problematic, but now here comes the mind control. Diablo in trouble, going for the combo and missing out on it. He doesn't get the combo off. Now twice gets bullied into a corner. Might fall. Brightwing with a quick heal as they're trying to keep the Lord of Terror alive. But the red team is pushing them back slowly with the help of Tychus. But the fight's not over. Once again, Urel is moving in, popping her ult. Benny with another Stormbolt that connects on Diablo. And now Copenhagen decides that it's finally time to leave. The blue team slowly moving away here. Dehaka looking for the Tong, connects it with Muradin. Muradin, does he have the cooldown? Can he jump out here? Urel moving in, and Urel is gone. Gets Hanzo'd, but Diablo dies as well. Every time, honestly, it feels like Diablo, every single time that he dies, he still has his souls back out. He died once or twice where the stacks weren't there and he was down for the entire duration. But now, once again, he's going to rejoin in just a moment. So he does a great job playing around his trade and making sure that whenever he sacrifices himself in a team fight, he will be back to assist his boys shortly after. And as long as they're using that to get trades, that's a positive one for them. Arrow against Muradin. 5 seconds for Avatar. Isolation. Brightwing looking for the heal. Hop, little dwarf. There we go. Gets the double jump off as he uses Rewind. Yeah, and Ether has to move out here. Nice late game. I like it. Very explosive. Huge fights now happening. But Dehaka has to deal with the top lane again and take all these catapults out. I think at this point, the red team is very, very happy that they decided to go for a global. Because if not for Dehaka, they would be in even more pain than they already are. That top lane is a huge thorn in their side. And they're not going to be happy about how things go there. But at least they are in a spot where they have a hero that can react to this very quickly. And they've been using Dehaka for exactly that purpose. He can sit there, defend the lane, and then join the team in the big fights. 53,000 damage from Junkrat. We got 60,000 from Hanzo. So still very even. Once again, Sylvanas. Currently, she's sitting at 120,000 siege damage. Look at Dehaka, by the way. 180k on siege damage. That side lane control of his is quite something. But as the game continues and the top lane is pushed by catapults more and more aggressively, that's an issue. Arrow connects with 2, but just as Junkrat pushed them back, displacement really working for them. If not for that, maybe Diablo could have followed up on the arrow stun, but it wasn't able to. Big red button, they're pushing for the keep. They want to get more control at the bottom of the map. Urelis coming in. Mirrodin is low, and they're trying to go for the kill. They know that Diablo is currently in trouble. Only 44 stacks, so he doesn't have a whole lot, and they're trying to exploit this, but not happening just yet. But they're getting darn close on it. It is a wild game. Dragon Knight for the red team. Here's the opportunity. This is the opportunity to maybe get that bottom keep and maybe even get a little bit more. Blue team, the Exodia stack, they're trying to first of all chunk it down quickly and also get a kill, but they lose Junkrat. Catapults at the top. This could be a problem. 3 catapults are pushing in. Somebody needs to go back in order to defend this, or those catapults could be damaging the core. Maybe even take it out. So down here, they're still fighting. Catapults are now starting to take... one of the catapults in range of the keep. That was lucky. Lucky for the red team. Maybe now a chance to win the game. Are they pushing? Are they going for the core? They get an arrow out. 34 seconds for Junkrat. If they kill another hero, then essentially they've won the game. And they're trying. Diablo! Diablo! And he falls. Diablo is down. Brightwing just a bit too late. They're pushing him back. Yasu gets kicked to death. No, he eats the grenade. Eats the grenade and dies. Stukov is gone, but the Dragon Knight duration is over as well. They're sieging up again with the big red button. They want it. They want the game now. But Junkrat, only 6 seconds, and he's going to be back to business. Another big wave at the top, by the way. 2 catapults this time. Last time they were in ding and in keep range from the middle. But now, shield on the blue team score slowly falling. But here comes Junkrat pushing them back 1 grenade at a time. And they know that they can't, unless they get kills, they can't. They have to retreat. Diablo's back in 20 seconds. That will also spawn him in time to deal with the top lane. Big damage numbers now. Hanzo is in the 6-digit club. 102,000 damage for him. Nobody's even close. Well, actually, Tychus is close. Tychus is on 94,000, which is pretty impressive. 3 catapults now, actually attacking the one in the middle. That's quite the meme here. Those catapults, because they're always dodging the keep here, are getting pushed into the mid lane time and time again, where they're facing off against minions, where they're facing off against that keep. So if I'm the blue team, I feel a little bit cheated. I think those catapults should have been on the core a few times. The last ones wouldn't have made a big difference, but still. Wild game. Wild second game. But the question still stands. Who takes it? Who wins Dragonshire? Is it going to be a 2-0 victory for the Exodia stack? Or are we going to get a 1-1 score and map number 3? Urel is now up at the top. 10 kills, 212 on level 23 now, 22 minutes in. Catapults at the bot lane will now start to become a problem for the Exodia stack. But then again, most of the fights are actually centering around the bottom of the map. And the question, or one of the questions is, will that change? Are we going to see a focus now onto the top, for example, from the red team as they are currently executing now? Because if they are able to do that, maybe take a fort down here, that would also alleviate some of the pressure that they themselves have been feeling the entire time. Riptire to clear the wave. Yeah, actually zoning them out more so than anything else. Yeah, they're still defending their fort. Sylvanas has taken the catapults out at the bottom of the map. It's already half the battle. So they're still looking pretty good here. Diablo! Someone's caught! He doesn't have his stacks together! And that's Hanzo gone. Hanzo is gone. That could... Oh my god. And Diablo gets pushed back out, eats the Stormbolt, and dies as well. That's 2 of them gone, and this could be bad. Dragon Knight is up. They could go for the Dragon Knight. They could also just go for the core. If they feel confident going through the top and aiming for the core here, they could try and do that, and it seems pretty much like that's exactly what's happening. 3 defenders, as it's now the blue team that is trying to end the game here. Can they pull it off? With 3 defenders in the mix, here's the opportunity to go for the 2-0 victory. Tychus is gone, and that makes it more than just... That makes it pretty much an inevitability. Nobody is going to be back for another 20 seconds. The shield is already dropping. And this is game 13 kills to 12, 25 kills in 24 minutes. And the Exodia stack, after a hard-fought battle, on Dragonshire is winning the series with the 2-0 victory. Nicely done as the blue team locks in another W in the best of 3. GG and well played.
Thank you everybody for watching the video today. I hope that you enjoyed the show and the commentary. And keep in mind that the spoiler protection that is going to run for the rest of the video is made possible by all the support on patreon.com. So guys, if you want to support my work, if you want to help me start new projects and keep the spoiler protection in place, please consider heading over to patreon.com/Khaldor. There's also a link in the YouTube description and check that out. Thanks in advance, and see you guys next time with more esports coverage here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day.